Good evening. I would like to welcome you to the May 23rd, 2023 meeting of the City Plan Commission. Before we begin, I will outline the procedure that we will follow for our public hearing. As each agenda item is called, the applicant or his or her representatives and persons for the request will be allowed to speak. Then persons against the request will be allowed to speak. If there is opposition to the request, the applicant will be allowed to make a short rebuttal. All persons wishing to speak need to come to the microphone at the front of the room. Please state your name and address for the record. All statements made should be relevant to the agenda item and be limited to 3 minutes. If there are several persons in favor of or opposed to a request, we encourage you to allow 1 or 2 persons to act as spokesperson for the group. If you like a spokesperson for a group, may request that the group stand and be recognized. While public discourse is very important to the Commission, we have to maintain order in the meeting so that all persons may be heard and city business may be conducted. If so directed by me, Sergeant at Arms shall remove from this meeting any person while addressing the Commission or while attending the Commission meeting, making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, who becomes boisterous, or making unauthorized remarks from the audience, stomping of feet, whistles, yells, or similar demonstrations. The Commission members have reviewed each of these items in a previous work session. The recommendations we make tonight to the City Council will be based on the work session and the information provided by staff, as well as any additional information presented tonight. After completing the hearing on each item, the Commission will consider action on the item. The action taken tonight on these items will be in the form of a recommendation to City Council. The City Council will also conduct a hearing on these items, which will be held on Tuesday, June 6th in the Bosque Theater of the Waco Convention Center, 100 Washington Avenue. The record and recommendation of the Plan Commission and new testimony will be considered by the Council at that time. The first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our April 25th, 2023 work session and business meetings and April 25th, 2023 work session and business meetings. Are there any changes or additions? Seeing none, they stand approved as written. The first item, what are the first subdivisions on our agenda tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is public hearing on a request on the following subdivision plat, final plat of the Cervantes Edition, lots 1 through 2, block 1, and actually we'll need to take the variance first for this one. It's a variance request, the requirement for sewer extension per the Waco subdivision ordinance for the proposed subdivision plat entitled Final Plat of the Cervantes Edition, lots 1 and 2, block 1.
We'll open our public hearing on the variance request. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? If you would like, you're welcome to come down and make any statement. It's not required.
My name is Arturo Cervantes. I'm trying to make it like a subdivision and plat for 3 acres. And the first time don't pass because the survey guy, he say we have to run the drain. But the rails is on the middle, so we don't have options to run the drain by my 3 acres. So everybody there, they has like a septic. So I don't think we have options to run the drain. So I don't know what else we need to do.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, sir. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, you understand that the city is recommending that you're able to put septic on these lots as platted. You understand that that's the recommendation?
The septic, yes.
Yes, okay.
But I'm not one that the first time don't pass, and I got my emails because the city say, the first time the city say it's half and half county and half city, you know. So that's why we make my survey, you know, to make it complete on the city. And the second time the city say we have to run the drain. But the drain, the rails, the tracks, is on the middle, and the drain is on this side, and my 3 acres is on this side. So we don't have options to run the drain for underneath the tracks, you know. So we don't have options.
So you would like to be able to use septic on this property, correct?
I'm available to do the septic. I know I need to do the septic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone else here, or is anyone here to speak in opposition on this item? Okay, we'll close our public hearing. Recommendation of approval from the city for the variance request on the sewer extension requirement. We'll entertain a motion or conversation.
I move that we approve the variance request.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Browse, second by Ms. Briscoe. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Briscoe?
Yes.
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 What is our next subdivision plat we'll be looking at?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request on the following subdivision plat, final plat of the Cervantes Edition, lots 1 through 2, block 1, and that's for the plat itself. And city staff does recommend approval, and now that the variance has been approved, it stays as approval.
We'll open our public hearing. If the applicant would like to say anything else, you're welcome to. It's not required. So. Anyone else here to speak in favor on the item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the item? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Recommendation of approval for the final plat of the Cervantes Edition. We'll entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to motion that we recommend approval.
Motion by Mr. Ramos, second by Mr. Embry. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Embry?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Ramos?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
What are the next plats before us tonight?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on the following 2 subdivision plats. Preliminary plat of the ECI Lorena Edition, also known as SunWest Edition. Final plat and construction plans of the Fidel Edition, and city staff has reviewed both of these plats and recommends approval with conditions.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing on these 2 plats. Are the applicants or his or her representatives here to speak tonight? Anyone else here to speak in favor on either of these plats? Anyone here to speak in opposition on these plats? We'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval on agenda items 1 and 2 underneath our subdivisions, and we'll entertain a motion. Approval with conditions, excuse me.
Yeah, I move that we approve with conditions per staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Browse, second by Mr. Ramos. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Ramos?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
In the proposed update to our ordinance in regards to subdivisions, what is the recommendation presentation by city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we have a public hearing to consider an ordinance amending various sections in Appendix B subdivisions and/or Chapter 28 zoning of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Waco, Texas, to designate the City of Waco Plan Commission as the approval authority for subdivisions and updating processes and procedures. To summarize quickly, the amendments will, as I said, designate the Plan Commission instead of the City Council as the approval authority to help speed up the subdivision process. It'll also correct department division names throughout the ordinance, correct position titles, and update inspection fee to refer to the City Council adopted fee schedule. Staff recommends approval of these amendments.
We'll open our public hearing. Is anyone here to speak in favor of the ordinance amendments? Is anyone here to speak in opposition to the ordinance amendment updates? Okay, we'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval by city staff to the language in the ordinance amendments, and yeah, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve amendments.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Briscoe, second by Mr. Browse. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Browse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Ramos?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
In the case of Z-23-15, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Jacob Bell and Walker Partners LLC on behalf of CC Waco 521 Land Holdings LP for property located southeast of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Lakeshore Drive, more recently known as 1299 East Lakeshore Drive, for a special permit for excavation, mining, and/or removal of any material, including but not limited to sand, soil, and gravel, as an accessory use for the purpose of construction on the property or development of the property for a permitted use by right or by special permit in an R1B district on property described as a 44.301 acre tract of land located in the Calvin B. Emmons Survey, Abstract 337 in the city of Waco, McLennan County, Texas, and being out of lots 2 and 3, Block 1, J.H. River Farm Edition, according to the plat thereof recorded under McLennan County Clerk's document 2004-035-248 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. Said lots 2 and 3 being a portion of the 520.808 acre tract described in a deed to CC Waco 521 Land Holdings LP, a Texas limited partnership recorded under McLennan County deed record 2022-027-229 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas. We mailed out, and I apologize, your comment card information is incorrect. We mailed out 7 notices for this request and had 0 comments returned. And Planning Services recommends approval of the special permit subject to the special provisions and conditions and based on the following findings. 1, that the proposed use is consistent with the comprehensive plan. 2, that the proposed use is compatible with the appropriate and orderly development of the area in which it is located. 3, that the proposed use would not be more objectionable to neighboring properties because of traffic congestion, noise, fumes, vibrations, or any other characteristics in any use permitted in the zoning district without the grant of a special exception. And 4, that available community facilities and services, including the road system providing access to the proposed use, are adequate for the proposed use. These findings are required for the granting of a special permit as per section 28-122 of the City of Waco zoning ordinance. I did also want to highlight a few of our special provisions and conditions that are outlined in the staff report. Condition 8 is that the permittee shall comply with all building, traffic, floodplain development, health, and other related codes of the City of Waco. Number 9 is this permit shall be for a period of 2 years and expire on June 6, 2025. At expiration of said period, the permittee shall make an application for renewal of said special permit. If the permit is renewed, it will be considered abandoned. It is not renewed, it will be considered abandoned and terminated, and the lawful use of the said premises shall conform to the use for which it is zoned under the City of Waco zoning ordinance. And 10, the amount of excavation, mining, and/or removal of any material shall be limited to a maximum of 450,000 cubic yards.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Just state your name and address and any comments you have.
Absolutely. Good evening. Reiner Thicking with Caldwell Companies. Our address is 9955 Barker Cypress Road, Cypress, Texas. Not much to really say, just really here to see if there's any questions I'd be happy to answer. Jonathan Cannon is also here with Walker Partners if there's some technical questions that you might have. But otherwise, happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? All right. Well, thank you for driving up. Anyone here to speak in, anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? We'll close our public hearing. Recommendation of approval from city staff. We'll either have a conversation or entertain a motion.
I move we approve based on city staff recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cole, second by Mr. Embry. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Yes.
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
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 In the case of Z-23-16, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is a public hearing on request from Taylor Allen on behalf of Wohawk Properties LLC, 4800 Carson Lane, for a land use designation change from suburban residential to office industrial flex, and a rezone from C3 to M1 for property located at 4800 Carson Lane. Staff mailed out 12 notices. We had 2 comments returned in favor. Planning Services recommends approval of the land use designation change from suburban residential to office industrial flex based on the following findings. The public infrastructure is adequate to provide for zoning districts allowed in the proposed office industrial flex land use designation. Planning Services also recommends approval of the request to change the zoning from C3 to M1 based on the following findings. The proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan as revised. The property meets all size and width requirements for M1 zoning. 3, public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the M1 zoning district. 4, M1 zoning is more compatible with the surrounding area than the existing C3 zoning district. And 5, there is M1 zoning adjacent to the subject property.
Thank you. We will open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? All right, we'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval by city staff, and we will entertain a motion.
Move to recommend approval based on staff findings.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Embry, second by Ms. Briscoe. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Browse,
Yes.
Briscoe,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Embry,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Smith.
In the case of Z-23-18, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Bowman Consulting on behalf of ECI Ventures LLC for property located at the intersection of Old Lorena Road and Church Road, south of Highway 84. Legal descriptions, 25 acres more or less, being all that tract of land located in the H. Roberts Survey, abstract number 751, McLennan County, Texas, being part of that called 70.27 acres of land described in a deed to Bob R. Davis as recorded in the McLennan County Clerk's document MCCD 2004-027029 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, OPRMCT. Staff mailed out 16 notices and had 0 returned. And the Planning Services recommends approval of the request to change the zoning from R1B to R3C based on the following findings. The proposed zoning is in conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the property meets all area and width requirements for the R3C zoning district. 3, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the R3C zoning district. 4, the proposed R3C zoning is compatible with the surrounding area, including existing land uses, road classifications, and Cotton Belt Trail.
We'll open our public hearing on this item. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Just state your name and address and any comments for the commission.
Good evening, council members. I'm Clint Lannon with Bowman Consulting, or engineering and surveying firm here locally. It used to be Microsoft about 1519 beforehand, but we're at 5054 Franklin Avenue, and just wanted to offer any questions that y'all might have. I'm happy to address the owner developers here as well. Any
Any questions for applicant? All right, well.
Thank you.
Is anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition on this item? And we'll leave the public hearing open just in case any commission members have a quick question on this. Questions before we close the public hearing? All right, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval for the zoning change by city staff. Any final discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to motion to recommend approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ramos, second by Mr. Browse. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Browse.
Yes.
Briscoe.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Embry.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
In the case of Z-23-19, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request from Art Nava on behalf of John Robert Real for property located at 1320 Wood Avenue. Request to rezone from R2 to R3C. Staff mailed out 60 notices. We had 0 comments returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the request to change the zoning from R2 to R3C based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in conformance with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the property meets all the area and width requirements for the R3C zoning district. 3, the existing public infrastructure is adequate to provide for uses allowed in the R3C zoning district. And 4, there is other multifamily zoning in the vicinity of this subject property.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is the applicant or his or her representative here to speak tonight? Is there anyone else here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? We'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff. We will entertain either conversation or a motion.
Move that we recommend approval based on staff finding.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Briscoe. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Browse.
Yes.
Briscoe.
Yes.
Cole.
Yes.
Embry.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
In the case of Z-23-20, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Mr. Chair and Commission, I did just want to mention that this case is going to only involve 905, so it will not include 901, 909, 913, and 917 Delano Street. Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, this is a public hearing on a request from the City of Waco for property located at 905 Delano Street to rezone from C1 to R1B. Staff mailed out 48 notices, had 0 comments returned. We had 1 email from Carver Neighborhood Association with concerns. Planning Services recommends approval of this request to change the zoning from C1 to R1B only for 905 Delano Street, based on the following findings. 1, the proposed zoning is in keeping with the land use component of the comprehensive plan. 2, the public infrastructure is adequate to provide for the uses allowed in the R1B zoning district. 3, the property meets all the size and width requirements for R1B zoning. 4, there is R1B zoning adjacent to the subject property. 5, the proposed R1B zoning is more compatible with the surrounding area than the existing C1 zoning.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is anyone here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? Okay, we'll close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval from city staff for the rezoning of 905 Delano Street. We will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the rezoning request as to 905 Delano Street, based on staff findings.
Motion by Mr. Brouse, second by Mr. Cole. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Brouse,
Yes.
Briscoe,
Yes.
Cole,
Yes.
Embry,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
In the case of ABD-23-5, what is the recommendation of city staff?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is a public hearing on a request on an abandonment of a 10-foot wide sanitary sewer, water, and storm drain easement granted to City of Waco and set forth in the quitclaim deed to Newspapers, Inc., recorded in volume 999, page 183 of the official public records of McLennan County, Texas, and located within the property known as 900 Franklin Avenue-916. I did want to clarify that this is, they're kind of on top of each other, but this is actually two 10-foot sanitary sewer easements that are being proposed for abandonment. And we mailed out 6 notices on this request and had 0 comments returned. Planning Services recommends approval of the abandonment request for the easements based on the following finding. 1, utility access for surrounding properties is not adversely impacted by the abandonment of these easements, and there are no conditions on this.
Thank you. We'll open our public hearing. Is anyone here to speak in favor on this item? Anyone here to speak in opposition to this item? We will close our public hearing. We have a recommendation of approval for the abandonment by city staff, and we will entertain a motion.
I'd like the motion to recommend approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ramos, second by Mr. Cole. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Rouse?
Yes.
Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
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 Smith?
Yes.
Final agenda item for tonight is our Plan Commission annual report. If staff could present that to us.
Sure. So this annual report is provided to council each year on July 1st. And so actually some of the items that were on tonight's agenda are included in these numbers, but it gives an overview of all of the cases and items that have come before Plan Commission. It also outlines your duties, composition, your summary of achievements related to the city goals, and then our work program and goals for the next fiscal year, or I'm sorry, for the next year, 2022 to 2023, and that begins on June 1st. And so just to give an overview of the plan administration, you reviewed 38 zoning, land use, and PUD cases, 23 special permit cases, 60 standard subdivision plats, also including variance requests, 14 abandonment requests, 9 ordinance changes, 5 annexations, 3 historic landmark designations, 1 honorary street naming for Lester Gibson Way, 1 street closure for Oxygen Drive, and 1 plan adoption, which was the downtown implementation plan. So you've been busy, and just wanted to express our appreciation to each of you and for your commitment to this commission and to the community and all of the volunteer work that you do.
Thank you. I don't know if we need to, but we'll open a public hearing. Would anybody like to make comment in regards to the annual report? All right, we will close our public hearing. We'll entertain a motion as to whether we will recommend our, or approve our annual report, send it on to council.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Embry, second by Ms. Briscoe. Any final discussion? Please poll the commission.
Rouse? Yes. Briscoe?
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Embry?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Bravo?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned until next month.
Thank you.